Welcome to Beyond the Call podcast, where we tell the stories of those people behind the jobs we rely on. We go into the good, the bad and the ugly, and we shine a light in what can be a dark place. Just a warning, the content can be graphic and distressing, so please use your discretion. Please like and subscribe on your podcast platform and our social media. And if you have feedback, I read every single one. Let's get on to this episode of Beyond the Call. G'day everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Call. We've got another guest today, which is fantastic, and we have Mark Thomas. Mark Thomas is the president of Code 9 Foundation. He's a current serving police officer and has been through his own journey that we're going to talk about. It's going to be a great chat. Mark, welcome.
Thanks, Pete. Great to be here. Thanks for your time.
No worries at all. So the reason I got you on here, and we're going to get this out of the way really quickly because it's something that's so important, is I heard of you when you guys recently released this children's book. So can you tell us all about that one?
Yeah. So the Code 9 Foundation, we'll break that down a bit later on, I suppose. But some time ago, Rob, the co-founder, he was in Ward 17, which is a psych clinic here in Melbourne, and his wife come in, and like Ward 17 was originally built for military members, so they had a lot of books there about families and things like that. But all these books spoke about when Dad's on deployment. So this place goes back a fair while. So, but it could be Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, whatever the book may be about. So there's nothing first responders specific. So Rob and Christy spoke about that, and they sort of thought, it'd be good to, do a book one day. They basically parked that thought for a while, and then we were chatting one night, and they sort of raised the idea, and I'm like, yeah, that's really good idea, because like when I was hospitalised, my kids were 3 and 4 or something, so they didn't know what was going on. So we had a general chat, and then Kim kicked it off, one of the members of the committee, and got on board an illustrator, Anastasia, who did a brilliant job. And we sort of had this concept that we want to go through the whole process, but make it short, make it snappy, and make it very kid friendly. So any child between probably 4 to 8 or 9 can resonate with the book. And like I've got a copy here, and like the characters are in it are these little, I call them little sort of alien, but people tend to think of aliens as scary. So, but they're not. They're kind of furry. They're funny. They're what a young child would look at and have a laugh at, basically. So we took the book, got the illustrations done, and then like Anastasia had the brief to get this is what we want, and we'll put words around it basically later on. So we want to show at the start that Dad's struggling. Dad's not playing with the kids outside, not going to the supermarket, etc. Then we talk about Mum and Dad having a chat, and then Dad speaking to a GP, and then speaking to a special doctor called a psychologist. And then we show Dad starting to eat healthier, be out with his friends, going out playing with the family. And then at the end, it's a family portrait of what is quite a happy family. So once we got the words around it, and we sort of sat back and gone, this is a really cool product. So it took a fair while. I mean, there was COVID in there as well, which slows things down. And look, for a bunch of first responders and partners, none of us had ever done a book before. It was a very good learning experience. I'm sure like we'll do another one at some stage, and we'll get that done in pretty quick time. So, but yeah, we released it. We had one of the committee members, she gave a copy to her children's school's principal, primary school, and 2 child psychologists, and the feedback was awesome. So we knew we had a good product, and that's out and about now, called My Dad, My Hero.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm fascinated that process. So that you first you got the illustrations done, and then you did the wording around to support the illustrations. That's a really, yeah, I didn't know that's the
Yeah.
way it would happen.
So yeah, it was that, like, we had in our own heads, like when Anastasia come back to the middle spread. So the middle pages are Dad in a, I'll just flick to it. I mean, your viewers, listeners probably can't see, but just so you can. So like it's a darkened room and the kids are outside in the sand pit and Dad's walking inside and Dad's got this alarm on his head and big lightning bolt basically showing he's got a lot of head noise. And when I first saw that, I flipped it straight away because that was me.
Yeah.
And this is what, like, we wanted the illustrations go, yep, I can resonate, I can resonate, I can resonate. Okay, now we can put the words to it, exactly what we want. We played around with the words, different terminology. We put a glossary in the back. I'll pick a word out here. So to make it again, it was all about being child friendly, so they would understand. So we describe as anxiety can affect your thoughts, body, and behavior. Lots of people with anxiety do not want to go into a crowd or go out to dinner or even to the supermarket. Anxiety can also make you feel really nervous and sometimes sick in your tummy. So it's words that are non-clinical.
Yeah.
That again, coming back to that 7, 6, 7, 8-year-old child and go, oh, okay. And then the flow-on effect was that when that child, if they start to feel anxiety when they're, even at that stage, but when they're 10, 11, 12, they can go, this could be, what was that? Was it anxiety? And then we're starting to get this real education. So we're not only showing what happened to Dad, but we're also educating the children.
Yeah.
And showing them that throughout the book, it's perfectly okay to go seek out a GP or a special, even that terminology, a special doctor called a psychologist. So, and even though, yes, it's called My Dad, My Hero, if, and there's plenty of first responder mums out there and we love them all, they can just change the words that when they're reading it to them, say my mum, my hero, that it can be easily be done.
Yeah. And it's not agency specific. It's generalized.
It's generalized. We've got, so Dad in the second or third page, or over those pages, he's a police officer, he's a firer, he's a paramedic, and he's a AAO operator. So he's pretty talented.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's multi. You can do everything, and like it works well.
And it starts a conversation that can happen for the rest of your career and potentially the rest of your life and their lives. That is sometimes a really hard conversation to have.
And that's like one of the great things, and you've got your own experiences, of course, as well, is starting that conversation. So like for me, when I started to speak to my two, I said, when you have a nightmare, we basically tell you that it's not real. That's your brain making up a story. And they're like, yeah. And I said, well, my nightmares are real. They actually happened.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, then you see their little brains ticking away, trying to make sense of that. So that's one way I started it, but now we've got this book, you can sit down, flick through it. And like, I've got a mate who just lives around the corner. He got it and he messaged and said, this is utterly brilliant.
Yeah.
So he's got three young ones. So like, they don't need to know the ins and outs of the clinical terms and things like that, but it just gives them the idea and a bit of education as to what's happened.
Absolutely. And people need to realize there is a difference between, a lot of people will say, oh, if it's a deployment or if it's defense, then it's the same kind of thing. It's not, because we go home every day. So it's such a gradual thing. It's different to a deployment where they go home. They go away, they do their service, they get injured, and they come home changed, as is in front of our family every single day. And that's a totally different process for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, we've got so many similarities with defense. We come to the same crossroads, but how we get to those crossroads are very different.
Absolutely. And I'd love to, and I've talked to you about it in the past, is link you in with Poppy Lilac. I've had on the show before, and she runs the Poppy Foundation. And hers is a similar type of thing where she's aiming to break the barriers between the defence help and the first responder help in schools. So she
Yeah.
organises groups and children of first responders in a school group to get together, and then they know they can talk to each other and, you know, support each other and know that what they're going through is normal, because there is a lot of that stuff available in schools, but there's not much for
Yeah.
first responders.
No, no. Yeah, I mean, that's brilliant that they've started that, Poppies.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And anything we can get to help the families, because this is not just our journey. It is very much their journey as well. Anything we can get to them is just, you know, there's no such thing as too much of it.
No, and that's one thing where, you know, we as in the foundation, we help a lot of our members, but we also equally help the partners and the children. We're really proud of that, because it's, you know, there's a lot of time, a lot of resources go into it. But that's fine. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
So, and even like in January, we're sending 10 kids away of first responders on a camp, adventure camp.
Perfect.
So, and like, again, this stems from Rob coming up with this idea, because he's ex-defence as well as an ex-first responder. Why am I saying ex? I hate that word. Former is much better. Ex intrinsically negative. And so his lad went on it, and through Legacy here in Victoria, Defence Legacy, and he's sitting in the bus and he speaks to this other kid about the same age, and he says, "Oh yeah, my dad was in the army. Oh yeah, my dad was too. Oh, my dad was a police officer. Yeah, my dad is too. Yeah. Oh yeah, my dad." Like, they weren't bragging; they were just talking about their dad. They said, "Oh yeah, my dad deployed to the Solomon Islands. Yeah, my dad did too." So as it turns out, Rob knew they were mates, and their two sons, who had, like, complete coincidence. Now, these two lads know they're not alone.
Yeah.
They know there's someone in their exact same position. So, and this is what we're hoping with the kids camp, it'll show that. So, and then, the book, the camp, we've got plenty going on. It's really exciting.
Excellent, mate. Excellent. All right, let's go back to the beginning. So were you Victorian born? Yeah, I know you're in Victoria now. Have you always been?
Yeah, Victorian born and bred. Haven't left the state, apart from holidays.
Yeah. And growing up, what did you want to be?
A tradie of some kind. I wasn't. It's funny how many first responders and military people you speak. Wasn't real good at school. Look, I wasn't hopeless at school. I passed, but as soon as year 11 come, like, I remember Dad saying, you can leave school if you've got an apprenticeship. So you're not leaving school to go do something that hasn't got a future in it, basically. So, yep, cool, no worries, understand. So finished year 11 and I got a mechanics apprenticeship. So did that. I can't pinpoint the time, but I'd always wanted to become a copper, but I wanted to do mechanics first. So I wanted to, I don't know, live a somewhat normal life, if that could be the best way of putting it, before going into working weekends, night shifts, things like that. I wanted to have weekends off. So I was a mechanic for 5 or 6 years. I went and played cricket in England for 6 months in '94. And then when I got back from that, I was sitting under a car. My first job back was an engine rebuild, and this great big blob of oil right between the eyes. And that was the point. I'm done with this. So that was the sign.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I went and applied. However, I failed the first time. I failed the spelling. So not real smart. Well, it doesn't help not paying too much attention at school. Yes, it's something like, I don't know what it was, but I remember doing it. I'm thinking I'm in trouble here, because a lot of these words I'm guessing. So then over the course, I had to wait 6 months till I could apply again. And then every night, or just about every night for 6 months, Dad would pull out the dictionary and throw 20 words at me. So it's a bit of education. So went back, passed, went to the academy, and graduated in October '96.
Okay, so how old
I've
were
just
you
ticked
when you
over
went through the academy?
28 years. Turned 24 in there.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I think that's a good thing. A bit of life experience in between being a student and being a police officer is, or any first responder or any serious job like that is, I think a bit of life experience is a good thing to have up your belt.
Exactly. Yep. Concur. 100%.
I mean, for most of us, our job is 99% common sense and communication. And if you can do that, then
Yeah.
the rest of it takes care of itself most of the time.
Yeah. Most. Every now and then, not so much. But yeah, I absolutely agree. And look at, I've got a couple of squad mates that were really young. They've turned out to be awesome coppers. But I also know of other people in other squads that have come through. And even when I was a sergeant, which I am now, but in the city, seeing the young constables come out from the academy, the ones that are the 24, 5, 6, 7 sort of thing, things happen a lot easier for them because, as you said, they've got that life experience. They've been communicating in other jobs and doing, whatever it may be to give them that sort of leg up in life.
And also, I mean, for men in particular, our brains don't finish developing until we're 25. As much as we think we know everything when we're, late teens, early 20s, we really don't know shit. And when we look back at it, like, there's an incredible amount of growth that goes up in those years.
Oh, massive. Huge amount. Huge amount. And I think back to when I graduated. Jesus. I was 24, but I was a baby.
Yeah.
Like super, super young.
And there's also, if you come from like a middle income, normal-ish family, there's a side of life that we are not aware of. I realized how privileged my upbringing was once I joined the job.
Yeah. Yeah. You certainly see, well, you see the best of people, but probably more often than not, you see the worst of people.
Yeah.
And then, and that's, you see things like some of the places I've walked into over the years, houses, and you just go, how do you live like this?
Yeah.
But that's their life.
Yeah.
That's, it is what it is. So you do what you can, but that's just the other side of it.
Yeah, it's their normal. And one of the things you try and do is not judge their normal. We all do, but you try not to externally judge it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like it's hard when you go into those places, like they've been like Berg, they've got hardly anything in a way, and their most prized possession could have been a TV that a normal person or a normal family would have thrown out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's been stolen. And you're sitting there and you're like, my goodness. So as I said, you do what you can, you treat them with respect, you try and help them out, but there's only so much you can do. Like, fortunately, we have got lots of referrals we can make to help them out. But, how far down the line are they from being helped out when, the ones those that are, homeless and they've got nothing, like they're the ones that need the most help, and rightly so. So if someone's got a roof over their head, well, unfortunately it's a roof, but it's not, the house is not much good, but at least you have a roof.
Yeah. So when you went through the academy, did you kind of have a goal in mind or a trajectory you saw yourself? Like, did you see yourself going down a particular avenue?
Yeah, into the investigations path, become a detective. That was evident really early on, and it's interesting looking back how we saw the people. They were going down the lines that they want to be a highway patrol member. Then the others who wanted to go down to, investigating sex offences. Others that, there's people that just, I need to get to the homicide squad down the road.
Yeah.
They just want to investigate murders, and great, good to have that drive. I didn't have a specific crime theme. It was just, I want to become the detective and, investigate stuff and be challenged with it, and go to a crime scene with next to nothing there and try and work it all out, the big puzzle. So yeah, that was always the goal.
Okay. So how did you enjoy the academy experience?
It was good. My squad, we got in a bit of strife though, internal, like not bad stuff, but disciplinary and the highest standards that there were back in '96. So we had a lot fail exams. So we graduated with the then second lowest ever. There's only 10 of us that graduated. There's something, I think maybe 18 or 20 people came and went out of our squad. So we were pretty tight-knit crew at the end.
Yeah.
We were late for an exam, not exam, we were late for a class one day. So it was junior and senior phase split up into 10-week blocks. We had to run between classes for about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So we become known as the running squad because everyone's would see us. Look, it had its times. There was a couple of times where it wasn't overly enjoyable, but the vast, like 95% of it was, yeah, cool. This is, I'm getting paid in here to learn, and the carrot at the end of it is to be sworn in and get out on the road. So there was some of the lectures we had were brilliant. Some drug investigations, some missing person investigations, major collision. So yeah, really interesting stuff. And when you've got that, very clear interest in what you want to do, and you're getting paid to sit there and become a, police officer once you're sworn in, it was, had a lot of fun in there, made some great mates, still got mates to this day. The squad, everyone goes to different areas, but I've got a couple of squad mates I still catch up with quite regularly.
Yeah. And what about the jump from academy to real life policing? Was it big? Was it adequate? Like, was it manageable?
It was a big one.
Yeah.
I remember, so when you first graduate, we went to a place called City Patrol Group where you learn your traffic direction. So we go there, all these fresh-faced young constables, and we went out to get lunch. And of course, when you go outside, you got to tool up. So it was the first time I went outside with a gun, and I thought the whole world just stopped and was looking at me, which of course they weren't.
Yeah.
No one cared that I was there. There's just another copper coming out, and like there's a whole bunch of us. But it was like, okay, this is become very, very real. So I'm walking around like I haven't got a gun license. I'm hardly outside of policing. Like the shooting's just not been a thing for me. Then all of a sudden I'm walking around in Burke Street, Melbourne, the main drag, with a loaded pistol sitting on my hip. It's like, okay, righto, switch on. So it was good. It was good. I went to my first station. My first shift, I worked with Maddie Ashby. I'm still really good mates with her to this day. And I had a body on my first shift, actually, drug overdose. And she took me under the wing, showed me how to do things right. It was just, and I still remember that shift 28 years later because she was so good. And then just to ease me into stuff, pulled me aside, make sure I was all right for what we'd just been to. And then conversely, the second shift, I worked with a bloke who was incredibly lazy. And so I had the good and the bad in the first 2 days. And I was playing cricket with a senior sergeant in Geelong at that stage. I had finished playing cricket, but he spoke to me and basically said, you're going to work with really good people and you're going to work with some pretty ordinary people. So take the good from the good, take the bad, make sure you don't emulate that in your future work. So, yeah.
And you do.
And like I was fortunate.
Just as much from bad mentors as you do from good ones.
Yes.
If you're switched on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I didn't deliberately set out to do it, but I'd become friends with a couple of older members, the senior constables, who were good. But they were good people.
Yeah.
There are people that are old, want to be around in a way. And then, there was no hesitation in going up, asking a question. What do I do here? How do I do this? And then, night shifts were awesome. And then you get on a good night shift crew. And for me, and this is, typically my personality and what I would have done in a way, but again, the senior sergeant said, when you get a really good crew around you, just sit back, watch, listen, learn, ask questions. And I would do that and just getting all this knowledge on how to do things right. And then conversely, again, you go back to that shift with another person who's lazy and they'll do shortcuts and go, okay, well, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So but it was overall was a really enjoyable experience. My first probably 18 months was good, but then I went to Collingwood. Ironically, that's where my triggering incident happened. But I don't think of that station like that because it was a small station, probably only 30 odd on the roster, but brilliant. Like the sergeants were awesome. The senior sergeants were awesome, and all the troops are there to work. There was not one single lazy member there.
Yep.
And like we worked hard. But, after a really good hard shift, we'd up the pub for a feed and have a few beers and go home. So that's, I still look back on the Collingwood days and I'm close mates with a couple of people from there. And that was,
What
that
about
was
your
the Ducks
social
guts.
life? A lot of police officers tend to it's a very insular community. You tend to only hang out with police officers simply because they're the ones that know, or other emergency services, because they know what you've gone through, or they know, you can empathize without even talking about something. And there's a lot of people that kind of lose a lot of their friends outside of those emergency services. How did you find that went for you?
Early doors, because I stopped playing cricket when I went into the academy. So I just wanted to concentrate, get through the academy, find me feet. So I didn't play for a couple of years. And, the vast majority of my social life was with other coppers. But I still would go back to Geelong, where I grew up, and go out with me mates in Geelong. So I was still able to keep a couple of different social groups running. And then when I started playing cricket again, then I had another one. So I had sort of 3 different groups that I would bounce around. But like what you're touching on there is such a critical thing, because it's like it's unbelievably toxic, because your whole life then starts, you're working all day as a copper, and you go out as a copper or a paramedic or a fire or whatever the service you're in. And as you said, it's very insular, and you're just living it the whole time, and your identity turns around and you become that person. So, like it's taken me, well, I shouldn't say it's taken, because now I've got it back. But when I first become aware of the identity thing, like I worked real hard. So like it took me a few years, but now I'm only a copper for 8 hours a day. That's it. So there's a real good separation there. But I was fortunate. It certainly wasn't by design. It was just I had mates in Geelong that I liked going out with.
Yeah.
And then after a game of cricket, like I didn't bolt off after cricket and go out with my police mates. I went out with me cricket mates.
Yeah.
So it just happened that way.
So you were fortunate, because there are a lot of people that it does become their life, and like you said, you end up eat, breathe, and your identity is your work, and if that gets ripped away from you, you're kind of lost.
Oh, incredibly destructive. And like I have a lot of contact with a lot of various first responders, and I've got a lot of military mates for that matter. And I don't know whether I can separate what's more. Trauma on the road causes a lot of damage. Internal trauma causes damage, but also when members leave the job, how many are leaving and they're broke because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because all they've ever known, their adult life, is first responding or being a soldier.
100%. That's
to touch on the
where
military side of things.
Yeah.
So
I won't be going back to work, and it took me a long time to understand, who the hell am I if I'm not a paramedic? It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And it adds to the guilt and the shame and the drama of your injury. It's just more fuel on that fire.
Yeah, just piles the trauma on top.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm very fortunate in that, because I am still working, I'm able to undergo that process while I'm still working.
Yeah.
So when I retire in 6, 7, 8 years' time, whatever it may be, I'm going to walk out of the police centre, moonwalking, to give double cobras and be happy with it. And I'll leave policing behind. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my job. I've got one of the great jobs in Victoria Police. But I've got that really good separation between work life and home life because of what I've been through, which is there's a pretty good bonus to come out of it.
Absolutely. Do you think organisations educate people enough on the dangers of that social? Because it's treading a fine line when they try and start to tell you or advise what to do outside of work, but it is so important.
Yeah. So on our, when I say our, on Victoria Police's internal intranet, we've got a career transition guide. So it's under the wellbeing area, lots of different information about wellbeing and mental health in a positive sense and how to keep yourself healthy. But yeah, sitting right there is a career transition guide, which helps you. I think it's even stepped out in years, 5 years out, 4 years out, 3 years out, 2 years out, 1 year out. Right now, your superannuation, your insurance, your mortgage, all these things you've got to look at. So it's a really good step-by-step guide to help people move on after policing.
Yeah. I think I'm not aware of anything like that in our organisation. And I think the problem is with things like that, you only kind of look at them when you're towards the final years or getting in your last 10 years of your career. Whereas if you're coming in, you're 25 and 30, and or you've been in it for 10 years and you're only 40, you're not thinking about retirement. You're still just living your best life as much as you possibly can. And then if that gets ripped away, so I think the more we can look at educating people in that transition and in that safe space of having a separate network outside of your work community, I think is a good thing.
And it's crucial because the healthier you are, the better you're going to work. So I think the organisations have a vested interest to, make sure you've got an external support structure. Make sure if you're into sports, you're playing sports, or if you're into art, you go to your art classes, or you learn to play guitar or something, whatever it might be. Because if you can keep your members healthy, they're going to be better at work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think the concentration has very much been on physical fitness rather than that emotional connectiveness, which is often the most damaging part of our injuries.
Yeah, like the vast majority of our people off at the moment are mental rather than physical.
Yeah.
So, but again, like it's a generational change because go back, like in my triggering incident in 2003, we had a wellbeing unit, welfare unit, but like my mental health literacy was zero.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea. Like I'd heard of the word depression, anxiety. That's about the extent of it because it just wasn't around. But now, and probably back then, boys don't cry, stiff upper lip, go drink a dozen beers because that'll help. But now you're seeing, like, there's a bloke down here, Tom Boyd. He played for footy for Greater Western Sydney, and then he got traded to Footscray or Western Bulldogs. And he was literally on $1 million contract, walked away from it because it wasn't good for his mental health. And this is like a 23, 24-year-old or something like that. And I'm saying, people are going, oh, poor Tom. And I'm going, hell no.
Yeah.
That's awesome because, like, he's put his health first in front of $1 million a year contract. And I looked at that and I've gone, what a supreme level of leadership that all of these other early 20, mid 20-year-olds are saying, if he can do that, I can do this.
The self-awareness.
So that's the self-awareness and like showing that it's okay to put yourself first. Yeah. So, and that's, it's generational change. So we're getting better at it. It's still got a long way to go though.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back. You're on the beat, your general duties. Do you recall any incidents outside of work where you realized work's changed you? The hypervigilance, where you were acting unlike other people that weren't in the job?
After my triggering incident, 8th of April 2003, before that, no worries, nothing.
Okay.
After that, and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like, I say a sliding scale upwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Descending, whatever that is.
Yeah. So let's go
Yeah,
through
after that,
your career trajectory then, from when you left the you're
yeah,
doing your general duties. What was your
yep.
career up into your
So
triggering event?
yeah, so started off, you go through City Patrol Group, learn to direct traffic, you go to the booze buses for a month and just spend a month on the booze bus. And then you go to your home station, which is, okay, now we've put the other stuff behind us. Now we're actually working what we want to be doing. So I went to Melbourne City, right in the CBD, Melbourne CBD, and typically very busy because everything happens in the city. I mean, you got lots of traffic, lots of pedestrians, accidents, drugs, demonstrations, um, industrial accidents, like the whole works. It's very concentrated. So
Did you have
you
your
get,
suburban work, like your DVs?
yeah, plenty of family violence. Not as much as there is now because inner city living wasn't a big thing in 96. Now it's a massive thing.
Yeah.
Like there must be 40 high rises in Melbourne that weren't there when I started. So the casino had just started. So very concentrated events, you could say. So we'd go back to the academy for a week of what they called retention. So extra training every 6 months or so. And those of us that were in the city, and we'd have our little books that we had to tick off. Charge someone with a drug offence, tick. Go to a accident, tick.
Yeah.
Domestic violence, tick, sort of thing. And our books were finished within sort of 6 months, whereas the people out in the suburbs, they'll take 18 months to get it done because it's just so concentrated in the city.
Yeah.
And then I got a chance to go to Collingwood, and I'd heard about Collingwood, and one of the blokes I was playing cricket with, he was a sergeant there, and he said, "Hey, would you want to come to Collingwood?" I said, yeah, I'd love that. And it just so happened that the senior sergeant at Collingwood was the then acting inspector in charge of all the probationary constables in A district, which I used to work in. So that transfer happened pretty quick. So it's nice and good, all a clear and transparent process, of course.
Yeah.
So I ended up at Collingwood, and that's when, as I was alluding to earlier on, that's when things really kicked off, like proper police work, investigating stuff, just small, not large scale, because you just don't have the resources, time. But like when you're in the city, you've probably got 7 or 8 units driving around and foot patrols and things like that. Whereas you go to Collingwood, you're it. So it's you for this, for 3 or 4 suburbs, you're the only police band out there. So very busy, very close knit, really good work. And at that stage in the late 90s, so I went there in 99. At that time, here in Victoria, the heroin toll and the road toll was matching each other. I'm not sure whether that was the same up your neck of the woods, but it was carnage. Like the amount of heroin on the streets was off its head.
Yeah, I started in 2005 at Roma Street in the CBD of Brisbane and did heaps of heroin overdoses. Once I left Brisbane, it's fentanyl's growing now, but I went years without giving Narcan, so it was very centralised in the CBD.
Yeah. So, and the Collingwood Fitzroy area, Fitzroy borders on Collingwood, and Richmond the other side, we were one of probably 3 hubs that a lot of the trafficking come out of. So like we'd go out, and like the point where like Collingwood Police Station and Collingwood Railway Station is across the road. We were sitting there eating lunch one day, and we look over the railway station, there's trafficking going on. So we just walked out of the station and just walked, like 20 metres, and arrested a bloke of trafficking heroin.
Yeah.
Like there's a police station right there. Oh, sorry. High rise, a lot of commission flats. So very, very busy area, which, with a lot of drugs comes a lot of trauma, a lot of overdoses, a lot of death, a lot of suicide, accidents, the works.
Yeah.
And that's just in and around that area. So, major freeway that feeds into Collingwood. So, if there's a car preying on the Eastern Freeway, it's usually pretty big. So, and then, and I was fine. I was always, if I go to a deceased person, whatever it might be, I was always of the opinion that, I've got a job to do here. And on the other side of this deceased person, it's a mum, it's a dad, it's a brother, a sister, husband, wife, son, daughter, whatever it is. So I need to make sure I do my job right, because I don't want to extend out that grieving period for any more than what it has to be.
So in the few years to your triggering event, if you had to guess, how many dead bodies do you reckon you would have gone to?
20, 30?
Yep. And the reason I'm asking that,
the
reason I'm asking that is I want people to understand that it's not every trauma that's an issue. There's normally something specific about a particular job or events surrounding a job that cause an injury. We can, all traumas are, yes, they've got negative stories to them, but they don't all affect you. And you've been to 20, 30. Obviously, I've been to probably more than that, because that's the nature of my job. But something goes wrong at an event or after an event that makes a job affect you and cause an injury.
Yeah.
So let's go towards your triggering event. What do you want us to tell us about that time?
Well, it was, so I remember me, and I was working with Lummy, good mates, still very good mates with him. We got called to, there's a hot hanging at that stage, and hot mean it's just happened. You'd understand that terminology, but listeners may not. So we got there real quick, went through, and look, once we got through the flat and found him, I looked at, it was the first time I'd been to a hanging, hadn't been to one before. I didn't think anything of it. There wasn't any warning flags going up. It's just right on our way there. Who's grabbing him? Who's cutting? Working out what are we going to do? Cut the rope, etc. But then I looked at the deceased, and for all powerful Google tells me the blink of an eye is 0.33 of a second. So I looked at the deceased for less than 0.33 of a second. So as fast as you can look around a corner and look away. But green T-shirt, grey cargo shorts, no shoes, no socks, short curly, not, real curly, but curly, sort of mousy brown hair, blonde, mousy blonde hair. And he didn't just do it, he'd been there for days.
Yeah. And
from this position, etc. And I can describe that unit, the colours, the cracks in the wall, the wine and champagne glasses, the pots and pans in the sink, the darkened room, the TV in the corner with the rabbit's ears, the brown two-seater, one-seater, 1970s fake leather couch with cracks in it. I was in the flat for about 6 seconds, and I looked at the deceased for about 0.33. Yet, if I could draw caricature style, like really elite, I can draw that exact scene. And that's 2003. So
screenshot
taken and embedded. Never. I can laugh about it now because I might as well. And as soon as I saw that, I remember saying to Lummy, fuck that, I'm out of here. And I just walked outside. So whoever found him had rang Triple O, obviously, to get us there, but had also rang family and friends. So they started turning up. So I'd prefer to stay outside and give death messages rather than go inside and deal with the scene. Now, the vast majority, and I presented to a lot of police units down here and fireys and paramedics. What would you rather do? Give death messages or deal with the scene? And the vast majority, no, give me the scene. I don't death messages are by far and away the worst thing. They're just everyone could understand that.
I've said it before, going to a dead body is relatively easy because they're not moving, they're not a threat. You just process the scene. If they're a patient,
Yeah.
you do your patient care, and if they're deceased, they're deceased. Nothing trains you for dealing with loved ones of those people. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And they react very differently.
Yeah.
Some quiet, just sit down and sort of taking it all in. Others just go off. So, so I'm preferring to do that. Then Lummy called me back inside. So I went back in, and by that time, he had been cut down, but the undertakers had arrived. So they'd cut him down. They'd removed the noose, which I actually don't think they were meant to do. The coroner's meant to do that because then they can tell whether it's, made to look like a suicide, basically, rather than an actual suicide. So, and by that time, evidently and I don't know whether you've ever come across this, but subsequent to this, I find out that a lot of people, before they take their own lives via hanging, is they take a deep breath. And then once the noose comes out, that breath comes out. And of course, that breath had been sitting in this body for a number of days. So it just flooded the unit with the smell, which I can still smell 28 years later. And as soon as I entered the unit, it was like me walking into a brick wall, and I just turned around and left. And to me, that just embedded the trauma even further.
Yeah.
So I went outside. I think Lummy at that stage clicked on, like we were pretty good mates then. No, he's not vibing with this scene, so I'll leave him out there. And look, me and Lummy joked pretty much when we'd start a shift together that, okay, what type of body are we going to have today? Because it seemed to be whenever we'd work together, it'd either be a fatal or an overdose or even a natural death that we'd have to go to for one reason or another,
You
thing.
You joke about being shit magnets.
Yeah, and it seemed to be like that. So he worked out that, I'm not vibing with this scene, so, I'll stay outside. We went back to the station after everything was cleared at the scene. We did the appropriate paperwork, sent it off to the coroner, notifications, what else, and just went back to work. And then we would have gone to the local pub. So whenever we had a body, we'd go to the pub, just have a couple of wind down, rums, talk a bit of shit. We certainly wouldn't be talking about our thoughts and feelings and things like that back in those days. And then, went home and got on with life. But like, I knew immediately that I did not like this scene and it hurt me.
Yeah.
But, and this is where this mental health literacy comes in. If I'd have gone back to the station, picked up the phone and rang welfare and said, hey, I need to chat to a psych. I've just been to some bad juju. We wouldn't be having this conversation because I'd be healthy.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting looking back. And like my wife said a few years back, we were chatting about it. She said, I'd message her or give her a ring and say, hey, had a body today, just going to the pub, going to be home an hour, 2 hours later. Yep, no worries, cool. And when I got home that day, she said there was something different. You were different. So, but, obviously, I maintained that I was seriously injured, just not physically. I didn't drop any blood, but mentally I copped it.
Absolutely.
So,
and I think it's important to point out to people that two of the most, and there's a lot of research, and I remember when I started, we were advised two of the most distressing scenes that you will come across is somebody who's still hanging or a decapitation.
Yep.
They're the two that have real high injury rates. For some reason, those two jobs, they stick. Is a hanging and a decapitation. So, and they're horrible. I can still picture multiple ones.
Yeah. And as I said, it was the first one I'd been to, and I didn't go into it any further. I think we, and when I say I think, I know, when we went into the flat, like the door was open, like, I know, 3 or 4 centimeters. So it kind of slowed us down because, a lot of coppers that have been around long enough, and even new ones now, like we've been ambushed a few times, and a couple of young lads, Tyne and Air, the lads got suckered into a fake stolen car going back a few years, and they were murdered. So always got to be switched on. Are we been suckered into something here? And then, I wasn't, we were the mindset that, okay, he's going to be there, he's probably going to be struggling. So this is what and then bang.
Yeah.
And like clearly not just happened, without getting too gruesome with the details, but, and it just, as you said, photograph taken.
Yeah.
And embedded.
Yeah.
So,
and I think a lot of the time it is much more impactful when reality doesn't meet expectations. If you knew
yeah,
you were
good
going
call.
to somebody who had been hanging for a couple of days, your expectations and going in is a million times different to what it was that you actually went
Yeah.
into. And obviously sliding doors, you don't know if you would have got the injury that you had now. But when you're not prepared for something like that, yeah, that screenshot stays.
I've never really thought about what you just said, but yeah, really good call, because there were times the call would come over the radio, bad 12 and 16, which just mean a car crash with injuries. And when the operator says bad, it's bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are already mentally preparing that this is going to be a bad scene to go to, but you go to the scene, do your job, walk away, next job,
Yeah.
sort of thing. So really good call.
Yeah.
Really good call.
Okay. So where did you went home, and obviously your wife noticed it. You kept going for quite a long time. What was that process? And who was the one who eventually realized that, oh shit?
Well, the oh shit moment was when I landed in hospital.
Yeah.
So, so I went on for nearly 10 years. So I was at Collingwood for another few months, and then I got my first detective position. And it's interesting because with our identification cards, on the badge, when you're in uniform, it's blue. When you become a detective, it turns yellow. It doesn't turn yellow. You get a new one saying Detective Senior Constable. It's not like Harry Potter, bang. And now you've got a yellow Freddy. So it's all about, for us young cats, when we're trying to become detectives, it's all about getting the yellow Freddy. And then when you get the yellow Freddy, yes, and it says your name, detective. And that's the celebration part of it. But when I got my yellow Freddy, I didn't care about the yellow. I cared that I was going to the tactical response squad that doesn't deal with trauma. So I don't have to see trauma anymore. That was the celebration rather than getting the yellow Freddy. And then, like going through the academy, I'll just dive back a bit. We went and watched an autopsy.
Yeah.
Which I found unbelievably interesting.
Yeah.
Like I am right up the front, right against the glass watching it. I mean, there's a couple of parts where I'm like, whoa, that's gross. But the pathologist we had was awesome. He'd bring over and he said, because it was like, we think this fella died of a heart attack. It's up to us to prove it. That's the coronial process. Okay, cool. So then he does everything, and he brings the heart over to us. And he's cutting along the arteries, and he found a blocked artery. And he goes, there you go, we've proven it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's like, I feel intensely sorry for this bloke who's died of a heart attack. But at the same token, I've now got this police mind that I'm here learning, I'm here training. This is a coronial process. I found it super interesting. And he's talking about, this is the liver. This is what the liver does. This is the pancreas. This is what the pancreas does. This is the brain. And like I'm going, oh, this is so educational. Yeah. But then, so I become a detective and I'm working away. And then we do a course called Detective Training School. So back to school we go, internal course. And it just goes into things a lot deeper. So like theft and deception in the academy, we probably spent a day or two on. We spent a week on it in going through case law and really delving deep into it. And then we get to the coronial investigations component. So back to the coroner's court we go. Except this time, I sat up the back and looked at my feet for 40 odd minutes.
Yeah.
I'd chance am I looking at that deceased person. Just not doing it. Head down, looking at it. Got back on the bus back, got back to class, and, oh, what do you think? Oh, yeah, no, it was pretty good. Wasn't too much different at the academy. I'm just talking, just bluffing my way through, but I wasn't doing it out of, a stigma or me feeling weak or anything like that. It's just, I had no idea what was going on with me.
Yeah.
And I like, there's just so many red flags. I mean, that's a huge red flag. They don't come much bigger, but I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
And like, I was, shaping up at that stage. I was a pretty good cop. I was not the world's best. I was a pretty decent thinker, and, a great worker. I was able to, one of the great things I was always able to do, and I was very happy with, was, hiding spots for drugs in flats. I'd always sniff the drugs out, not literally sniff, but, hide them.
Yeah.
But like, all of these huge mental health red flags sitting right in front of me, and just missed them all.
Yeah.
So I just continued on. And
did you sleep?
Symptoms, on and off. I'd have periods where it was bad, but being at the tactical response squad, so our charter was basically kidnappings, extortions, blackmails, things like that. So there was a lot of, and we had to work arvo shifts, and then by the time you get home, wind down, it could be 12:30, 1 o'clock before you get to bed. So any sniff of me not sleeping was due to not having a consistent sleep pattern.
Yeah.
Not thinking about my brain's, not much good.
Yeah.
Or the mental injury I'd suffered.
Yeah.
And then I was seconded over to the joint counter-terrorism team between, like, they're all in every state's got one. It's the locals with the AFP.
Yeah.
I sat there for 5 years, and, being in two really big investigations, and, that's when Iraq was hot. Afghanistan was hot. So there was a lot of videos, beheading videos, just general trauma videos, like horrific stuff that, we had to watch. But I worked out pretty quickly that I'm not watching these. So I'd minimize the video screen to the bottom corner of the screen, and then I'd look at the top just out of your peripheral vision, and then go, yep, that's one of those videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like and at that stage, anything trauma that come up, my body would start to heat up. I now know that's me having a little anxiety attack, or my anxiety was at least rising.
Yeah.
But again, because I had no idea and no education, I just had no idea what was going on and what was building within me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine that those videos are bad for anyone. You can't unsee those things. And if it's called, and if if it's part of your job and you're purposely not looking at it, that kind of, that can make life a bit hard. And as you said, the red flags are there, but if you don't know what the red flags are,
they're not red flags.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what it is, as you just said. So,
yeah. So you kept going. Keep going with your story.
Yeah. And then 2010, I'd been there for 5 years, and my senior sergeant then, he said, look, you need to look at some different walls for a while. I said, yeah, probably just about due to. So I went and did some upgrading to acting sergeant in the city, and then shortly thereafter got a spot. So I was sergeant in the city, back in the uniform, back on the street. And look, I was really enjoying it. But again, any time anything heavy trauma come up, like it was a brawl, no worries, we'll go to that, back the troops up, work stuff out. Because now I'm in a supervisory role as well. So make sure everything's working, notifications being done, etc. And then a bit of a call come over the radio, and I was out in the road for a van or a car or whatever unit, a set of 83s for you. And 83 in Victoria is the form we use for the coroner. So that's our call sign. Not call sign, the code given to us as to what type of job we've got. If I was out in the road, my body would, like, I'd start sweating.
Yeah.
And then, but like what I did after that autopsy when I was a detective, I would go there, and it was just by sheer luck that every body I went to, there was a senior constable there who was a really good operator. So I would sit outside the room. I went to one in a hotel room. I was outside in the corridor, and he'd come out and said, "Right, have you done this? Yep, this, yep, 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 yep." And we just went through a checklist, making sure everything's covered, everything's done. All right, cool. Yeah, we're good to go. So I never actually physically went inside, but I was, bluffing my way through without actually trying to bluff.
Yeah.
And it was just that, I know, self-protection mechanism that kicked in. And, again, not out of stigma like that. I've never felt stigmatized post-diagnosis.
Where human beings are really good at protecting themselves, and that's how functional alcoholics can get through life and go to work and stuff, and people don't know it. You learn to bullshit your way through survival.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I was the king of it at that stage.
Yeah. And when did it go belly up?
In 2011? Can't think when I went. I got a detective sergeant spot at Crime Stoppers. Started 2012, actually. Yeah, January or February 2012. So I left uniform, and then when I got the sergeant spot to go back to the yellow Freddy, I lost my yellow Freddy. Now I'm back to a blue Freddy. Sergeant, Arctilus. So now I was very happy, but I had ambitions. Yeah, detective sergeant is the next next step. So do some temporary duties at the Sex Offenders Registry, which is interesting. And then got a spot at Crime Stoppers, which is a detective sergeant spot. So once I got the yellow Freddy back, again, not celebrating the fact that I'm a detective sergeant, I'm celebrating the fact that I'm off the street and I don't have to worry about trauma anymore. So this is like 9 years into this journey, and I'm still not recognizing that big red flag.
Did any supervisor at all ever bring up anything as far as what they observed?
No. Because when I was at work, I was good.
Yeah.
At this stage, I was still playing cricket just in my last couple of years. But again, looking back and piecing this together, like my self was gone. I had no self-worth. I had no, I thought I was going to be dropped every week. I can't bowl right. 2 little ones. I'm a shit dad. Everything I'm doing is just negative. But at work, I could go to work and just click on and crack on, and job's right.
What about the wife? So you said that day dot, she noticed something was different. And did she pick up on red flags?
Sleeping. So she brought up sleeping when I was in uniform. And I just said, I'm a shift worker.
Yeah.
We have bad sleep patterns. That's it. And she said it a couple of times, you need to go see something about your sleep patterns because they are horrible.
Yeah.
I said, I'm a shift worker. But even then, I'd still give that excuse after being at Crime Stoppers for a couple of months. And that's a solid 8 to 4, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
So again, not bullshitting because I'm hiding, just writing it off.
In your brain, that it's the truth. You're not lying
in
to
my
yourself.
brain. Yeah. So then I'm at Crime Stoppers, and then I went to Nepal. I wanted to do Everest Base Camp. It was hitting around, I was turning 40 that year. 2012. And I said, just sort of off the cuff, I was just looking through the paper and I said, oh, Everest Base Camp. And I thought it'd be more expensive than that. And Karen, the wife, said, well, go. That's your 40th present. I'm like, oh. I said, you serious? You can't take this back because it's in Nepal. I want to go. She said, go. And then she goes, no, hang on. You got to find a different way because you're not flying into that airport. So to most trips to Everest Base Camp, you fly in and out of Lukla. And we just happened to be watching the world's most dangerous airports a couple of nights prior. Lukla was on it. Oh, man, it's pretty dodgy. I mean, there's not it's a lot worse than what it actually is. There's not hardly any. There are crashes there, but and I sort of thought, well, you know what? She's letting me go by myself to Nepal. That's fair play. So saw the Annapurna circuit. Thought that looks really cool. So I'll go on that. So, and it was interesting because we got to the airport, and then as I was walking, I walked through customs, and I was about to go through customs. I was about to go through the next bit, and my boarding pass, I couldn't find it. So I dropped it previously, and I just thought, oh, hope that's not a bad omen. And like, I'm not superstitious in any sense of the word, but that crept into the mind.
Yeah.
And then I get to Nepal. First couple of days, like I was over there for was meant to be over there for 21 or 22 days. And it's about I'm going to say day 3 or 4 of the trip. Like, I'm nestled in the Himalayas, this raging river, beautiful people, everything's just perfect. But I'm in my room in the tea house crying, and I had no idea why. Like depression. And again, looking back, so many things make sense. So I just put it down, I don't know, homesickness or something, which I wasn't. I was just depressed heavily. And then I continued on with the trek for another week or so, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And then I get to a place called Yakaka, which is about 4,000 meters. And I'm just pushing myself. I've just got to finish. I have to do this. I have to do this. Because the expectations I had of myself then were off the charts. So if you made a mistake, I'd say, hey, human, that's fine. But if I made the same mistake, I would kick the living bejesus out of myself.
Yep.
And then sitting there, and I can remember it like it was my first proper anxiety attack, and I thought I was going to die. And then as I'm having, the most epic of attacks, then my brain switches to how are they going to get my body home? Like, I've left my kids 3 and 4, whatever they were at that stage, or in around that age. And then the bloke I was rooming with, really good bloke, he's like, shit. So he's tried to start to calm me down. Then the tour leader come in, and he just put his hand, I remember him putting his hand on my shoulder and saying, breathe, control your breath. He's obviously seen people have anxiety attacks before.
Yeah.
So I calmed down, and he goes, do you want to continue or turn around? I said, oh, no, turn around. Pretty solid. I need to get back to Australia.
Okay.
And actually, a couple of nights before that, I neglect to say that, like, I actually messaged, because Karen was with the 2 kids in Sydney, because she's from Sydney, staying at the parents while I was overseas. And I sent a message to her saying, what day are you getting back to Melbourne, back home? And she said, told me later on that as soon as that message landed, she knew something wasn't right. So, oh, no, I'm all good. I'm just wondering, like if there's a poker face, it's just the worst poker face in history over SMSs. That was it. So I end up doing a Yui, and the best thing happened on the way back. So we did 100 Ks in 2 days to get back to a bus station, to get back to Kathmandu. Karen had changed flights and got me routed back to, I was actually going to be flying back into Sydney. But ironically enough, for the entire time walking, which was 100 odd Ks, my feet were pristine. About 3 Ks into the walk back, I developed a blister underneath my foot. And it was pretty painful.
Yeah.
But I loved it because I had so much mental pain. The physical pain was actually making it something to concentrate on.
Yep.
Flew back, and on the entire way home, as soon as I get back to Australia, I'm booking into CSI because something's not right here. Anyway, fly back into Sydney, okay, blah, blah, and come back to Melbourne, back to work, don't book into CSI because,
I'm okay
male,
now.
dumb. I'm okay now, job's right, everything's fine. Meanwhile, my symptoms they are skyrocketing. They're through the roof. zero self-worth. Making decisions was hard. There's a couple of times when I'd get home and I'd nearly break down coming into the house, but then I'd compose myself, walk in and just pretend everything's fine. And then it got to, I'm going to say February 6, 2013. I went to a health and safety wellbeing forum day between my command and another command. And one of our head psychs, Joe Gartz, is champion bloke. He's up there and he's got this slide. I'm sitting in the front row and he's sitting there because Victoria Police, I think, had 4 suicides the previous year. So we're really getting this discussions going. And he's got this slide about suicide, PTSD, depression, anxiety. And he said, I specifically remember him turning around saying, don't worry if you're ticking a box or two, because everyone does. I remember sitting in the front row going, I'm ticking every box.
Yep.
And I developed this feeling in my chest, which I now know again was anxiety. And I actually left there and finally made a phone call and booked into CSI, which is the following Monday.
Yep.
So this is a Wednesday. So I feel pretty good about that. Finish work, go home, no worries. Thursday, same deal, go home, go to work, all good, go home, go to put the key in the door, nearly break down, compose myself. And all of this time, this sort of around this time, I'd get up early, go for a run before work, and I just couldn't be bothered. Just didn't want to run. Mates messaging me, oh, you want to go out, grab a couple of beers, something? No. So I'm withdrawing from everything. I'm not finding fun in anything that I used to do that I find fun in. So those classical symptoms.
Which when you're going through it, you have no idea this is happening.
No idea.
It's
and that's
people
where
pointed out that you're like, oh shit.
That just shows how critical your friendship group and your family structure is
100%.
to point these things out. So it gets to Friday night. I wake up Saturday morning at about 6 a.m. with the greatest toothache of all time. So now this is really cherry on top time here. So I find a dentist that's open, go there, have to have a root canal. So I have the first part of that going. My T-shirt's wet with sweat with the anxiety. And I'm just thinking, oh, it's because I've got a toothache, I've got anxiety. No one likes going to the dentist. And then had the lads Milo cricket, that's what it's called at that time. So he's learning to play cricket.
Yep.
Cricket's my favourite sport, so I'm invested in that. I don't want to be there, but he's doing that. So we left that, and I nearly broke down the car through the mental pain. And Karen says, are you okay? And I said, no, I'm fine. She goes, is your tooth that bad? And I've gone, yes. She doesn't know.
I can defer.
Because my brain was telling me I need to protect this from the kids. And I've got no problem with that. I'll do that every day of the week. They're far too young. But my brain was also telling me I need to protect Karen from this.
Yep.
When she's the first person I should have sat down with and said, hey, something's not right here.
Yeah. And they're the ones that know before us anyway.
Yes. So I'm thinking I've got away with it. I wake up Sunday morning. I'm working Sunday voluntary duty so we can work on days off to earn a bit of extra money. So I was doing a fair bit of voluntary duties then. Single wage, mortgage, 2 kids, dog, in the burbs, bit of extra cash. No worries. And I'm working at the cricket. Like, okay, this is cool. So I'm watching Australia and the West Indies. And I'm getting paid for this. But so I hadn't eaten in 20 odd hours by this stage because I've had root canal treatment. And I remember sitting on the boundary at about 6 o'clock at night at the MCG getting paid to watch cricket. And I'm thinking, I don't want to be here. But then I caught myself thinking that, and I couldn't tell the difference between I don't want to be here at the cricket or I don't want to be here on this earth.
Yeah.
And that was a real, oh shit moment, because I knew, and I'm seeing the psych the next day, 3 o'clock, I'm booked in. I'll go see the psych and I'll be good. So I'm thinking at this stage, one psych session, and I'm going to be happy. I'm about 250 deep now, so my idea of one session was a little bit off. So I go, okay, tomorrow, just concentrate on tomorrow. And then the cricket finished, but of course it was the last one. I'm finally can go home, but then it was presentations because it was the final one. Good, presentations are done. Okay, I can go home now. And they said, no, because the spider cam, the camera that's on the ground in the air, that had to be deconstructed. And they requested that we hang around just in case someone comes out because it's worth like 500 grand or something.
Mm.
And I'm ready to just go catatonic because I just want to leave. So eventually I get home about, I think it's about 11:45 or something. So I grab a drink, do a couple of things, whatever, go to bed. At 11:57, I remember looking at the clock, I had what my first treating psychiatrist said, catastrophic loss of self. So that's, I hate the words mental breakdown. I hate them. I think they're stigmatizing, they're ugly, they're nasty, but that's what people can envision.
Yeah.
So it was a massive anxiety attack. The flashbacks were like incredibly clear.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting in that unit. I was there.
Yeah.
And
You can
but
taste
then,
it, you can smell it.
oh, everything.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, I've been through some, some physically painful experiences in my time, and I kind of go, oh, yeah, that hurt, sort of move on with it. If I had to go through that again, so be it. I don't want to be doing that again.
Yeah.
It was a bad night.
And your wife is
But then
experiencing this?
she's asleep.
Okay.
So, and then I grabbed my phone, and this is where my normal human brain, this is the way I kind of explain it, my normal human brain shut down, but my policing brain kicked in. I grabbed my phone, I woke her up, and you can imagine what, she's got no idea I'm as bad as what I am. I give her the phone and say, ring welfare. I can't remember what I said after that. I need help. I can't cope or something. She's like, well, so she rang welfare while I'm sitting there. I sort of calmed down a bit, but lights are on, no one's home. Then then she put the phone down, and then the phone rang. So it was the on-call psych. She had to talk to the psych, and she told me this a couple of years after this, but she told, go through his work bag, see if he's got his gun.
Yeah.
Hide any drugs. Has he got anything in his bag like knives or anything? So just remove implements that could easily, if I'm going to self-harm or suicide.
Yeah.
Which you can imagine how frightening that was for her and how confronting. And then I spoke to Alex, the on-call psych, and she said in a nice way, we had a bit of a chat. She goes, what are we going to do? And I said, well, if I'm working and I get called here and I speak to me, I'm going to hospital. So I basically, sectioned myself, which it's funny. I say that to police units when I'm speaking to them, that I'm part of a very small but exclusive club of coppers that have sectioned themselves. And I said, I think I'm the only member. But one day, a bloke put his hand up. Nah, me too. Well, I know there's at least two of us in that club.
Yep.
So I spent a couple of nights in Footscray, or one night in emergency and one night in the short stay unit, which there was no psych treatment going on. It was just keep him here. And then I went down to Geelong Clinic, which is a private psych hospital, for just under a couple of weeks down there. So, and to me, like at that stage, I didn't want to live. But I lost my mum to cancer when I was 8. So I know what it's like to grow up without a parent. So suicide was never an option for me, and that's where the policing brain was very, very clear on that. And my policing brain was, it was a good couple of years before my normal human brain started sort of recovering and come back, where they, it's really like passing the baton type sort of thing. And like having grown up without a parent's not a great experience. So I can't let my two grow up without me by my own hand.
Yeah.
So into the Geelong Clinic, And that's, that's when the psych treatment really, really kicked off.
Yeah. I, and until you go through your own mental health crisis, I don't think you realize how, and this is no disrespect to the people that work in those, but how inept the public system is when you're going through a crisis of, for example, PTSD, that you go into the public system and it just isn't designed for you.
No, no.
It's there for people who are almost acutely psychotic, where they can be drugged and
Yeah,
get them better through that. If you don't have access to a private hospital or private clinic, then I know I probably wouldn't be here.
yeah,
If I didn't have access to one, I'm lucky that we've got one in Townsville, so it's local. But you've got to go where you got to go, wherever it is. If you have the option
yeah,
where work cover, or just get in there. It's it
yeah,
it can literally save your life.
yeah, yeah. And like the first night, I sat down just laid down on a stretcher all night.
Yeah.
I was probably lying on that stretcher for 12 or 14 hours in an emergency.
Yeah.
Like clearly I've had a major psychological event here, and I just, with the doctor every now and checking me blood pressure and me pulse.
Yeah.
Blood pressure and pulse is all right, mate.
Yeah.
It's not much chop.
And it's not just that.
And
You've
then
got
even when I
people
went into the short
and
stay.
you work with that come in and out of that ED.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've got this internal, well, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you've got this internal embarrassment that maybe they'll see me.
Yeah, I wasn't, for some reason, the way my brain felt, I didn't care.
Yeah.
And like when the night shift senior sergeant come and collected me to take me to hospital instead of going via ambulance, because the thought was, we don't want to ring AAA, we can easily get one of the coppers on duty. And he picked me up and he's like, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm a bit secondhand.
Yeah.
And I was quite cheery, really, by that stage.
Yeah.
And he goes, don't worry, it's not on the running sheet. I'm not telling anyone. And I remember looking around and said, mate, I couldn't give a flying fuck. You tell people are going to find out.
Yeah.
No, mate, I seriously don't care. So, but I also understand that, like, I've got mates that no one else knows they're diagnosed, except for I know, their wife knows, and probably their psych knows.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Fine. Don't care. I won't tell anyone. As long as you're getting treatment, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I was very public with mine.
See
I
both
put
sides.
it on Facebook. I think I got day release, and we went to an 80s party, and I dressed as Where's Wally, and I put video of me on Facebook dressed as Where's Wally going into a psychiatric hospital. I'm like, I found my people.
Nice.
So yeah, and I think that's, as an example of having this podcast, I'm very out there. I want people to learn from my experiences.
Yes.
And that's,
Yes.
So everyone's journey's their own. If they want to keep it secret, all power to them. If they need any help, reach out to the people that need help or that can help, even if it's not, if it's additional, or if you just want to keep it into your treating group, that's cool too. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. As long as you're being treated, that's the only thing I care about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm down there. So Louise was my first treater, and then my first admission meeting at the clinic. I'm sitting down, and this is my first real dealings with the psych industry. And I wasn't disrespecting. I just whatever. And I haven't slept for 2 days probably by now. And for some reason, I thought it'd be a really good idea to have a can of Red Bull on the way down. My brother come and picked me up and drove me. So I'm sitting in this meeting with Louisa, the psychiatrist, and there's a professor, I can't remember his name, psychiatry there as well. And I am off my head. I'm buzzing. I'm telling a bit of the story here. I'm like Pulp Fiction. I'm telling 5 or 6 different stories about me all at once. And I reckon within about 10 minutes, the professor had my personality, my experiences, and diagnosis all done to a T.
Yeah.
I gone, okay, righto, respect. And when he diagnosed me with the PTSD, I've gone, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Then he said anxiety, I've gone, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Then he said depression, I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes on that one, champ. Not too sure about that. And I think that was self-stigmatization. I didn't like, not that I was celebrating the other two getting diagnosed with the other two, but the PTSD and the anxiety, there's like a natural progression. It was like, okay, that gives me a lot of answers now.
Yeah.
That actually does make sense. But yeah, I didn't like the depression one at all. I don't care about it now. I cuddle it. Yeah, it's a diagnosis, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But then I remember it was only like a couple of days later, I'm sitting in having a psych session with Louisa, and she said, geez, you're strange, which exactly what you want to hear when you're
From a
locked up in a
psychiatrist of all
psych clinic.
people.
And she quickly followed that up by saying, and I mean that in a really good way, because so many people sit in that seat and I cannot get them to talk. She said, I cannot get you to shut up, which is awesome. So I worked out really early that talking is good. So I made this idea in my brain that I've got all this poison in me, and to get that poison out, I've got to talk. So, and what are we, 11 years later, still talking.
Yeah.
So
A lot of poison.
a lot of poison, a lot of poison.
Yeah. I found one of the most confronting things about going into a psychiatric hospital was the design of the rooms, the lack of
Spot on.
the lack of
Hanging points.
all your taps, they're triangular. There's no hang points. There's no self-harm points. And it's kind of like, holy shit, this is real. I'm in a nut house. Like that's how I felt.
Yeah.
I am in a psychiatric clinic because people kill themselves here. That's why this is designed like that. And I found that really confronting.
Yes.
Do I deserve to be here? Am I crazy? No. But I am in a situation that if I didn't get the help that I'm now getting, I would be looking for hang points. I would be looking for harm points. And I've never been suicidal. I've been blessed in that regards, where I've also not gone through that, where that's been a real issue for me throughout my journey. But a shitload of people do.
Oh, and that's my first night in there. I was in with some other bloke who's coming off meds, and he was having a bad time of it. I actually felt pretty sorry for him because he wasn't in good shape. But like, there's cords everywhere, and I didn't think anything of it. But then the next morning, I had a session with Louisa, and then I got shifted to my own room. And exactly as what you described, I walked in, and the first thing I noticed, there's no hang points. And then I walked into the bathroom. I just pushed down the handrail, and it just collapses.
Yep.
And that was like, the way you described it was spot on. It's like, wow. So I wasn't allowed to leave by myself, but I could go for a supervised walk of a morning, which I've gone, okay, if I can't hang myself in here, you're taking me for a supervised walk along a busy road. There's other ways. If I want to take my life, I'm just going to jump out in front of the truck.
Yeah.
So like, I actually didn't understand the concept behind it, but if you're going to let me out to go for a walk, because I had to get outside, fine, so be it. And then there was a form with all our names on it and a tick to say who's going for a walk. And we didn't have to sign anything, but I had a look at it, and I was categorized as high risk. So that was humbling, not humbling, a realization that, I'm in a world of trouble here.
Yep.
Okay. So there's a couple little markers along the way. Yeah, this is not good. So, and then like I worked my way through the week, and then it got to a Friday, and that day, and the clinic you're in, I don't know whether they do this or not, but at Geelong, 3 times a day, people would come in to talk about diet, the diet's effect on mental health and physical activity. It's just education pieces.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I went to every one.
Yeah.
And like,
Group sessions.
what
and
I
they
couldn't
vary
work out,
tremendously, and they
yeah,
were helpful. I don't think there was anything new, but they were helpful.
they were helpful. But what I couldn't understand was, like, there's a couple, I was the only person. Hang on, this joint's full. This is free education. Why are you not coming to help yourself? And then I started to understand sort of the people in the victim culture, why me, or it's everyone else's fault, not my fault, etc. So I went to this one day where it's about mindfulness and meditation. And I'd heard of meditation. I'd never heard of the word mindfulness before. It's the first time I heard it. And I was sitting down in a chair and she's talking me through it. And I fell asleep. And like, I was pretty peaking as well. So she settled me right down. I thought, hello, here's something. This works. This actually works, because I went in there off my head on anxiety, and 20 minutes later I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Now I want some of this. And I specifically remember her saying, if your anxiety is climbing or your mood is dropping, go and either have a hot shower, not that it's that hot that it scalds you, but a hot shower, or a pure cold shower on the back of your neck, and just concentrate on the water.
Yep.
All right, cool. So this Friday night, I'm lying in bed at about 6 o'clock, and I feel my mood going down. And I thought I'd already bottomed out. Aha, I'm going to go have a hot shower, because I'm a huge sook for cold water. So a cold shower was never going to happen. Then I go in, no worries, turn the hot water on. It's a site clinic. They haven't got hot water. It's lukewarm at best, because then people could self-harm.
Yeah.
So my first attempt at mindfulness was a blazing failure. And I end up sinking down to the floor. And the shower's running. It's like a scene out of a movie. The shower's running. I'm just leaning against the wall with the knees to the chest. And that was me bottoming out. And I can't, it's only when you speak to people like yourself and other people who've been in it that you understand the level of mental pain, where this is why people take their lives.
Yeah.
Because it's just not sustainable to live with that amount of mental pain.
Yeah.
It was excruciatingly bad. And it took me, and I remember saying to myself, call a nurse, call a nurse, call a nurse. It took me 10 minutes to get off the floor to go call a nurse. Now, to put that in perspective for my case, and I don't say this to, pump my own wheels up, but I was playing cricket one day, I've broke my right hand, and I'm a bowler, broke it batting. I come out the next week and bowled 20 overs with a broken hand, with the bone separating each time.
Yeah.
That was epic physical pain. I was in tears at the end of it, because it was just so painful. But I just said to myself, do it. It'll all be over in a couple of hours. You can rest up and let the hand heal. All right.
There's an end point.
Let's do it.
There's an end.
And I just did it. There's an end point. It took me 10 minutes to get off the ground, to get dressed and call a nurse.
Yeah.
So I wasn't under any medication at that stage. I was really surprised, actually, in that first meeting. The professor said, right, after the diagnosis, right, let's talk medication. And I'm like, no, not yet. I want to see how far I can recover first before I have to worry about an assist. I said, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-medication. Because if you give me a pill and I'm all happy, I'm not recovered. So it's a false flag for me.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you do you. And they were supporting to that, which was good. So I get into bed, call a nurse. She comes in, and we'd spoken a bit during the week, and she just started laughing. She goes, "Gee, you look good." And of course I looked utterly shit ass, but she knew that's exactly what I wanted and needed.
Yep.
Don't come in and give me a cuddle saying poor you, because that is the anti. I don't want cuddles. Just tell me what to do to get better.
Yep.
And I'm discussing it with her, and she said, look, I know you're not medicated, but can I give you a Valium? She goes, it's just a muscle relaxant. It'll help you calm down. And look, to be truthful, she said, can I give you a shot of heroin? I probably would have said yes.
Yeah, just take this away.
Because take this away because this is pain personified. So she come back, gave me a Valium. Austin Powers, gold member, was on TV. I still remember that. And it was one of the most magical experiences of my life. My first Valium. Hence, two things out of that. One, I used to seize Valium off offenders who didn't have a script for it. I now know why they used to cut up rough massive. But I also, with someone with an addictive personality like me, I have to be super, super careful with this stuff.
Yep.
So, like, I haven't had one for years. I haven't needed to for years. But I've got stashes at home, in my car, at work, behind glass now in case of emergency breakout. Basically,
strategically put. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can see how people get addicted to them very easy because, it settled me right down and it put me to sleep, basically. And I woke up, I had a really good night's sleep. I woke up the next day and I remember thinking, I messaged Karen and I said, I need to see you and the kids. And that was the first time, because I'd completely disassociated from everyone except Karen, including my kids. The night before I had that I landed in hospital, that catastrophic loss of self, I sat between their beds and I looked at them and I had no physical feeling for them. My brain was telling me they could have my heart tomorrow if they needed it. I'd have no problem doing that. I'd die for them, no problem. But I didn't actually have any physical feeling for them because the disassociation was just that powerful.
Yeah.
So waking up that Saturday morning, needing to see the kids, like it was just this, it was this massive
moment.
bright lights. Yeah. I'm back.
Yeah.
I've got a long way to come, but yes, there's a bit of light. So they come down, spent a bit of time, and started to get a bit overwhelming, and Karen picked up on that. So sent them on their way, but I was sad that they were leaving.
Yeah.
So it was just such a, that gave me some pretty good reflection. And I don't know whether it come naturally, I can't remember, or like the professor or Louisa said, your self-reflection is really important. And I sat back and I've gone, I've just been through this utterly horrific experience, but I've got a great family. I've got supportive family, both, my dad, my brother, my wife, the kids are off their heads great. I've got a friendship group because I'd sent a message out, a group message to my sort of inner circle. And they're all coming back. Anything you need. If the lawns need mowing while you're in there, let me know. I'll do. Everything was covered. I've got a solid job. I've got support I've just got this support bubble around me that is brilliant. Okay. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
This is going to suck for a long time, and it's going to be a lot of tears and a lot of bad days and a lot of hard work in front of me. Probably I sort of envision 5 years. 5 years of really shit days, hard work until it starts really coming good. But I've got this protective bubble around me, so I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be okay, which was, super reassuring at that stage. Certainly when you need reassurance, when everything's bottomed out in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the true bubble, the people in that bubble are the ones that when you start to push them away, they won't let you.
Yeah.
And it's a symptom. It's not you not wanting them in your life. It's a symptom of the illness. I've said many times, I've got, particular friends that their thing is they'll text me a few times. And if I don't respond after maybe 4 or 5, it's, hey, fuckface, answer your phone. And it's just the slack. It's just the reality check of, hey, you're going down a path you don't want to go down there. Make the effort.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I remember I was chatting with Rob one night. Actually, another mate, Ben, was we're in Messenger actually. And it's basically, there's all in agreement there. if you don't answer when I say answer, I will triple O you.
Yep.
So in other words, I will send the coppers and the
Yep.
ambos around to your joint.
Yep.
Yep, cool. And I don't care if we never talk again. If it saves your life, worth it.
Absolutely.
So get used to that idea. So there's that understanding there. So yeah, what your mates have done there, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think it's
Answer the
important,
phone.
and I'm sure you learnt this as you had gone along in your journey, to have a safety plan,
Yeah.
where you can
Yep.
either self-recognize or other people can recognize in you, your circle can recognize in you when you
Yep.
need a bit of extra help, or when you're in a direction that you don't need to be going or don't want to be going.
Yeah.
And having that self-help plan is really important, and it can be as simple as, if you don't answer, this is my next step, this is what we're going to do for you. Or when you start to self-recognize, it's okay, if I haven't had an appointment in this amount of time, I'm going to do this. If I've realized I haven't gone out with my friends for this long, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, spot on. And to take that a step further, people who are mentally healthy now should have that plan.
100%.
So if, fortunately for me, my policing brain kicked in. I picked up my phone and gave it to my wife and said, ring welfare. So, but what happens with the people that haven't got that plan, or that brain doesn't think like that? So if your significant other, mate, whoever is having this massive, mental episode, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like what's, well, at least if there's already a plan in place, if this happens, this is how you react. All right, cool, got it.
Yeah. That and the psychologist.
Hopefully,
have a psychologist while you are well.
yes. Check in, let them know, create a timeline.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get a baseline. They'll know what your normal is, and they'll know when you're not. So I've said to many people, just go every 6 months, and it's just like cleaning out your linen closet. You take it out, you fold it up, you organize it again, and in 6 months it can be messy. It doesn't mean you're ill, but they're going to notice when things are not right, and they're trained and they're bloody good at finding information where you don't think it's got an impact. And if you went to one for these 10 years, those red flags may have been picked upon.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the all-time classic, isn't it? I was talking to Chris, my psych guy, saying I'm down to every 6 months now, and I'll go in March, all things being equal, I'll go, and nothing to report really. No, mood's been great, no anxiety attacks. Yeah, and then it'll just to check in, keep it going. But a couple of years ago, I was talking about something, can't remember what it was, and he goes, "Whoa, hang on, what's that? I didn't think it was anything." Yeah, we need to explore that.
Yeah.
And then it just opened up a whole new stream of conversation, which, whatever it was, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So, and that's the beauty of it. I'm long thinking this means nothing, which was actually something pretty big, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And like that, so I can't remember it because that's happened consistently over the journey where I'm just thinking that's normal. Oh, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you've managed to stay on at work, which a lot of people don't get to do, but you have. Why do you think you have?
A combination of factors, but primarily the Mick Bennett, my boss at the time. So out of hospital, I was off for about 7 weeks. I went through prolonged exposure therapy, which worked a treat on me. Paige was my psych then. Just brilliant. She did so well, which is pretty brutal to go through, the prolonged exposure, but worked really well. I got fascinated, not fascinated, not the right word. I really zeroed in on a work cover ad where this bloke, obsessive, that'd be the word, bloke had a broken arm. And the work cover ad was, it's important to get him back to work, get him amongst his work colleagues, get him doing stuff. And I thought, I've got to get back to work. So I only had like 7 weeks off or something, which was way too early to go back to work. But so I went back on a Tuesday and a Thursday for 4 hours, and Mick was just my safety blanket. And with like my first couple of shifts back, what was I doing? Scanning some documents and putting them in a certain folder. It was inconsequential. There was no need to do it, but that's him. Just there you go. There's that little bit of work.
Yeah.
And then once I'd get through a bit of work, it could be quicker. He'd just drip feed me a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then like I'd go then 4 hours on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And this is all between, still seeing the site 2-3 times a week, whatever it was. And as I sort of continued out, like I remember saying to him one day, there's two specific things that really come to mind with him. One, I said, I'm off to see the site, going to extend the hours. He goes, have a seat, mate. I'm in trouble. He said, you sure? You sure you want to increase hours? Yeah, I'm good. All right. Well, you don't have to. Just as long as you're good. So many other, and I'm not just talking about Victoria Police here, but this is a community-wide thing where people push. We want you got to be working more.
Yeah.
You got this return to work's got to be quicker. But he was the opposite. He was trying to slow me down to make sure I was right to do it, which it gives you an enormous amount of confidence. When you've got a boss like that. And then probably after I've been returning to work for probably about 12 months at this stage, and I went downstairs at the old building, and a bloke who he didn't know what was going on with me, and he's at the homicide squad, and he just relayed a scene to me, and it triggered the bejesus out of me. Now, if it had been probably the week before, I just would have gone up, said to Mick, mate, I've been triggered really bad, I'm going home. And he'd say, what car are we taking?
Yeah.
And he would have driven me home. But I went up and I said, mate, I've been triggered really badly, but I want to stay here. I've got to work my way through it. It's a test. And he goes, dude, whatever you got to do. So we're going to listen to music. And he goes, all good. And if your phone rings, leave it. I've got it.
Yep.
Oh, cool. So I'm sitting there, music going, I'm typing something, but just trying to calm myself down. But out of my peripheral vision, I see him just stick his head around the corner checking on me.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to him about it. I said,
he wouldn't know that you saw that.
Yeah, he didn't know. And I said, I don't think, and I certainly hope not, you will never understand how powerful that was.
Yeah.
I said, I cannot put into words, just how precious a moment that was for me. He's like, and he's quite taken aback in a good way, of course.
Yeah.
And I got back to work 2.5 years. It took to get back to full-time work. Not for 1 second did he ever put pressure on me to increase. He would, we got to a pretty good point where I would take on what I want, and he'd trust that I'm not going to overload. Really supportive work environment. Even like the inspector, the superintendent, the assistant commission, my whole rank structure above was supportive. So I never had any issues with that. It was very rare. I think it was only 2 days I messaged him saying, mate, I'm no good today. I'm not in.
Yeah.
No worries, pal. And then it suited me at 11, 12 o'clock. How you doing, mate?
Yeah.
Check in sort of thing. So.
And I think the difference with your success versus, I'm going to say, most people's failure to go back, not putting it on them, but their inability to go back, has so much to do with your experience of the people above you. The vast majority
100%.
of people, their check-ins are ticking a box at the same time every month when it comes up on the reminder calendar. And it's so ingenuine that it's such bullshit, and there's no trust earned that allows that person to go past their comfort zone.
Yeah. So I've had a couple of bosses reach out to me saying, can we have a chat? Yeah, no worries. So they'll have someone who's off work, how do I handle this? What's the best way? And I said, for Christ's sake, if you send a message or an email, or if you've got clearance to give them a ring, do not do that on the last day or the first day of the month. It's got to be some random day throughout.
Yeah.
Because even if you are not box ticking, it appears that you are.
Yeah.
And that will destroy any trust there is.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. And only real experience can tell you that. If you've never experienced it, you don't understand how destructive it can be to the ability for somebody to come back to work. And this is in every organization, in every facet of life. It's not first responders.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't be ticking a box.
Yeah.
You're just blowing it right up. So, yeah, where was I up to? So, and then, Mick had to leave the work in. So he went to a place called Special Projects Unit. I lost my safety blanket. I wasn't ready to lose my safety blanket. It was a difficult couple of months, but then a spot where he went to came up, and it wasn't a detective sergeant spot. So I was going to have to take a pay cut, and I was umming and ahhing. Then I've just began that moment of self-reflection and clarity. I've gone, really? It's not that big a pay cut, and you got your safety blanket back, and you're still employed. So I went back under him for probably another 4, maybe 5 years. Probably, somewhere between 4.5 years. But by that time, I was good. I don't need my safety blanket anymore. So he still works in the area, but just next door. One of the greats, very close friends, just could not possibly have more respect for him than what I have. And I look, yes, a lot of hard work by me, a lot of putting me head out there to test waters, to push boundaries in my recovery. A few times got suitably sat on the ass for pushing the boundary too far, and okay, I'm not quite ready to do that yet. Just work that out. But there was a strong will to recover, because it just entirely sucks to live with mental injuries, and knowing what I can and can't do. So working all that out, and that all equals, I'm functioning quite well at work.
Yeah.
Still working full time, and all things being equal, on my own timeline, I'll retire on my terms, not ill health retired.
Yeah.
But in saying that, if I was for some reason to go downhill significantly, I've got no problem with ill health retiring. I'll do that. I'm not going to sacrifice my health to remain employed. That's I'm not going through what I've been through. Hopefully ever.
Yeah. Do you relapse now? Have you relapsed, or do you have issues or are you kind of in a pretty good spot?
Yeah, I've probably had the best few months. I'd say probably what I've been off meds. So probably the best 12 months easy since. So I went basically 2 years, I reckon. It's about 2 years unmedicated, and then I just plateaued. And I'm thinking, I'm doing everything right here. It's like I haven't drank alcohol since hospitalization. I'm pretty, I ride or run to work. I'm pretty active. I eat really well. I more meditation, but mindfulness is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm doing, ticking a lot of good boxes, in a positive tick the box way. So I thought, I'll give the meds a go. The first batch I tried utterly destroyed me in 3 days.
Yeah.
So I rang the psych, and he said, best you get off them. I said, yeah, I already have. Then I had to dry out from those. It was only 3 days worth, and then tried another batch, and they stuck quite well. And then had to go up a dosage. And then I was probably on that for probably about 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Then I found myself just was very monotonous about it. It was just taking a pill and not really understanding that I was quite a zombie.
Yeah.
You know, I had no real deep lows, but I had no highs
Yeah.
either.
That's the juxtaposition of feelings, isn't it? You cannot be happy if you can't be
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. And that's I'm like, so I said to me, so I said, look, I want to get off them because I just want to see whether I need them. And he goes, big call, but I like it.
Yeah.
He said, how about you go down to half dose for 6 months, see how that goes. All right. So then half the dose, yep, cool, off. Another couple of months later, righto, stop taking them. Let's see what happens. But, you know, there's good level of trust there, clinical oversight. And, you know, I was well aware that things could go pear-shaped any moment. But, you know, for 6 months, I was great. Like, there's one stage where I was driving to get some dog food. Funny how the stuff you remember. I had to pull over because I was in tears of happiness.
Yeah.
I had this sense of, it was the first time I felt at complete peace. Jesus, 20 years, 18, 20 years or something, whatever the date was. And like, I was crying with happiness.
Yeah.
Then I got, actually, it was before that. So that was probably around the 3 or 4 month mark. And then I got to the 6 month mark, and then I just fell off a cliff real quick. And then took time out from work. I said, I got to go. No worries. Home for a few days. Rang the site, got on a different brand, different type. Half dose. Yep, that settled in. Cool. Got to the correct dosage. Yep, sweet. Away we go. And then it was January. Yeah, it'd be January last year. And we're having a chat, and he goes, you know, I can see you off meds. I've gone, really? I said, so what? Give it another go? He goes, give it a go. All right. Said, oh, hang on. I'm going to wait until cricket season's finished because I'm coaching the kids. You got parents. There's a few stressful things going on. So I'm going to wait. So he goes, yeah, no, like it. Good plan.
Do it in the best
So
possible
cricket
environment.
finished. Yep. So the day after cricket finished, I stopped taking them. But I had this 6 month mark in my head, which is the start of the end of September. So the 1st of October was basically 6 months. All right, cool. So counting down, feel all right. I got the 6 months, and I went going, feel all right. And I actually forgot about it. And yeah, now it's the 4th of December. Yeah, feel great.
That's awesome.
Feel great.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the poster child version of coming off meds. And knowing yourself and listening to yourself and having that good relationship with your psych.
yeah,
My experience recently was not that. It was I came off meds because I had to come off one to go on to another. Because we decided to come off the antidepressants because the sleep was more important because I wasn't getting sleep. And sleep is so important. I came off my meds in 4 days. And I ended up in the psych clinic because my emotions, I didn't realize how numb the antidepressants did make you. And when you're going through it, you're just kind of, you know, this is your normal. I've been on them for a couple of years now, kind of thing. So this is my normal. And it was essentially from taking my emotions from the mute button to full volume. And holy shit, I could not handle it. It was too much. It was overwhelming. I went to Bunnings. I'd come out and I would burst into tears, but it wasn't happy tears. It was, what the hell's going on? I would just cry at everything. I would feel real joy, but the other side of it was just too much. My thoughts, the busyness in my brain. It just, and I was irritable. My kids noticed it. My wife noticed it. I knew that I was irritable because they would say something and I'd snap, but know immediately that it was just out of proportion. Like there was no reason to have the tone that I had when they were doing something that wasn't wrong in any way. So I rang them and I asked to go back into the clinic because my family needed respite from me. and I needed
Yeah.
an environment where no one else mattered.
Yeah.
So when we talked
Yeah.
on the
You're
phone the
number one.
first time, I called it getting a grease and oil change, and it was 2 weeks that was so necessary. And I know I've got it in my back pocket where I can go back in there if I need to. And it was just doing the groups. It wasn't doing anything hardcore. I was probably one of the wellest people there, but
Yeah.
that was okay. I needed to be in there
Yeah.
just to reset.
But that's just having that really high end knowledge about self care.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you know what? It's not selfish. It's okay to put yourself first.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you sat at home and tried to get through those couple of weeks at home, it's not going to be pleasant for anyone. You haven't got nurses around you and psychs around you and things around you to do everything for you. So, that's like it's a bit of a cliche. Self care is not selfish, but it's genuine.
It is.
Like, and it's like people go, "What was it like in the psych hospital?" I said, but it was where I had to be.
Yeah.
It's where I needed to be.
necessary. Yeah.
So, like I don't, I don't regret going there. I don't. Yeah, it was, it's something. But I did always say if I'm ever going to have the med change, I'll do that in hospital. So, but I went against that. But by this time, like when I timed out from work and when I fell off the cliff 6 months, I was sitting at home and people go, what's some of the positives that come out of it? And this is one of the ones I use. My lad walked in from school and he said, "What are you doing home?" I said, "Oh, my head's no good," which is basically saying I'm not in a good place. And he's just completely natural. "All right, you want to play COD?" "Yeah, righto." "All right, hang on." Just goes to his room, drops his bag, kicks the shoes off, comes back, grabs the PS5 controller, sets up Call of Duty, and away we go. Complete normality.
Yeah.
Because that's because we play together. That's what we do. That's one of our things we do together. And then my daughter comes home from school and says, "Oh, what are you doing home?" I said, "Oh, my head's no good, Peanut." He goes, "All right, you want anything?" No, I'm good. "All right, see you out if you do." Complete normality.
Yeah.
Because they've grown up with it, they understand it. But like that, like once I sort of come good, it was a proud moment that those two reacted in such a calm, normal fashion.
Yeah. Yeah. And how other people react makes such a difference to your mindset.
Oh,
Trying to fix the problem is not helpful.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you just burst into tears, don't try and make it okay. Don't talk. Just give the bloke a hug or the woman a hug and shut up.
Yeah.
And that can be
How
the
can I
best thing
fix
you
you?
can do. Yeah, and that's it. You don't need to fix it. It's let us deal with it or let us fix ourselves, but we just need that embrace that will allow us to do that.
Yeah. Just so we're not alone.
Yeah. So you're
Or
still working.
then
You're
you
back
get
to work now. You're full
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
What do you do in the
Full
police
time.
now?
In the intel world. So sit behind the scenes doing stuff. I can't go out on the road anymore.
Yeah.
So I can't see, smell, or hear trauma, but I can read and write it, which, the complexities of the brain. So, haven't had anything that's wigged me out at work for, a couple of years. So, it's a funny situation at home with that I can't see, smell, hear. I'll walk into the lounge room and Karen will go, "No." So I know she's watching something on TV that she knows that my brain's not going to vibe with. So I'll do a U-turn and leave her freaky shows or Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So we binged the first series of that. This is going back a few years, obviously. Loved it. Awesome show. Series 2 comes out, and I think it was about episode 4, about 10 minutes into it. Oh, bang. Triggered the bejesus out of me. So she just picked up the remote. "All right, How I Met Your Mother then."
Yeah.
Put something else on. And I haven't watched an episode since. Can't watch it because it's got something in it. And it wasn't anything in particular. I think it was just the sounds, the sights, and whatever it was. So, but this is where it comes back where I can stay at work because I know what I can do and I know what I can't do. And that's where getting to know. So if I meet people or speak to people or whatever that are new in their journey, I tell them, you have now got to get to know them you. So there's certain things you'll be able to do. There's certain things you won't be able to do. You've got to work out why.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to prepare. So, and then sometimes you'll forget to prepare and then you'll get a whack. So like we went and saw The Killers at the start of the year and I forgot to mentally prepare to be in a crowd with music and lights and all of that. I spent the first probably half an hour trying not to vomit through anxiety and I was overheating and what was really cool. I went to the food stall and I said, got a bloke and said, "Excuse me, mate, have you got a spare bag or something?" I said, "I've got anxiety and I just need something to vomit in." He picked up a bag and he picked up another one. He goes, "Mate, you're the same as me. You have two." And it was a nice little chuckle between a couple of people who understood each other.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the concert, after I settled myself down, I was able to enjoy the concert. And then probably, I know 2 months ago, my daughter said, "Look, I really want to go to this concert." She loves live at one of the bigger venues here. No one wants to go. I said, "Get a ticket. I'll come." And she goes, "It's not your music. Don't care. You want to go, I will surf the internet, listen to my music, whatever."
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And we went there, but the days leading up to it, I was mentally preparing for it and I was ready for it. And when we got there, I was ready and I wasn't anxious at all because I had that mental preparation. And again, but that comes with, experience as being part of our community. But that's the same with work because I know I prepare to go to work. I'm going to work. Whereas so many people, they can't even enter a police building. But like if their trauma's at a police building, I understand that my traumas are away. But even sometimes I can't even get there, but I'm been mentally preparing for this since I left home.
Yeah.
So that's just all the experience we pick up on the way.
It's a great hope, a great message of hope because people can move past it. I struggle to go past ambulance stations. I still get physical reactions if I see an ambulance. Now, I did it for nearly 20 years. I never realized how many bloody ambulances are on the road until you get the goosebumps every time you see one. And then it's like, holy shit, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And when it starts to impact your life, there are things like you said, your exposure therapy. There are ways to overcome things where you can get back some normalcy, even if it's not back to where you were. As you said, your new journey, and with that post-traumatic growth. And I think there's a lot of people don't realize you can grow, and the journey may be different, but it doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah. And like I was asked by a psych, if you could choose to have this, would you? Or it made me think, and I said certain aspects no, but the large majority yes, because I know me better than at any other time in my life. I've got 2 kids that have got a very healthy respect and understanding of mental health. I've been able to help a lot of people. Like we're a couple of hours in of having a chat where people listen to this that will now get an understanding that they never would have had a previous understanding about.
Yeah.
So, and that's the growth you talk about. And I love the term post-traumatic growth. I reckon it's awesome because one thing I despise is negativity. I cannot handle it. And if someone's coming up having a whinge about something that is whingeable, you're damn right you should be able to have a whinge about that. Yeah, that sucks. Whatever it is, I'll sit there and I'll listen and I'll acknowledge and validate things like that. But if you're coming up to have a whinge just for the sake of whinging, turn around, nothing for you. And that's like I've always been like that, and I reckon that stems from mum's death. But like since this experience, double down on it, and that's even with the growth. When you see how much I know how much I've grown from it, but some mates I've seen, they are just monsters now because the growth, like monsters, big units,
Yeah.
not monsters in a scary monster.
Yeah.
Just through the post-traumatic growth, the eyes are open.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you had the same sort of feeling or not, but like for a few years there, like the world was great. It was in black and white. It was like I lived in a black and white movie. And then once you do start growing, the colors come back. And then all of a sudden you're in 4K vision and everything's brighter, everything smells better because you've had, the word adversity gets thrown about a lot. And like I love watching American sports, but one of their habits is, we went through some true adversity today. Mate, you're playing a game of sport. That's not adversity.
Yeah.
Right? When you're sitting in a psych clinic not wanting to live, that's adversity.
Yeah.
So when you face true adversity, you come out the other side and you go, wow, I'm pretty good.
Yeah. When did the Code 9 Foundation, where did that stem from, or how did that grow?
So while I was in hospital, I felt intensely alone. I didn't think anyone could possibly know what I was going through, which is obviously complete and utter bullshit. But of course, the brain not thinking too straight at the time. So I said, when I get back to work full time, I'm going to start a support group. But I actually didn't think I'd get back to work at that stage. So it was a bit of a bluff. And then sure enough, when I did get back full time, I started a little support group for coppers. And then I've got a paramedic mate down here. I thought, well, they should be in on this too. And then I've got a fiery mate. They should be in on this too. And then one of my mates who come along, he said, well, I've got a mate who's a triple-O operator. I said, they got the worst job.
Yeah.
At least we can see what's going on. They sit behind a microphone, buddy, headset with people. Oh, yeah, they're a part of this too. So started a little support group. Just started a private Facebook page. And then I made sure that anyone that got invited, they had to be vouched for. So only people who should be in there are in there. And I know we're going for a few months. I know probably, so that started in 2015 in June. I reckon mid-2017, Rob actually, he'd already come along, Rob, and he had an assistance dog, Jimmy. Still got Jimmy, but Jimmy's retired now. And so he'd come along, like, these dogs are just off the, it's awesome. Like, I'd heard of them, never been exposed to them. But like I've been around Rob a couple of times when he's been triggered, and seeing Jimmy go to work, it's just like, oh, how good's that? So we were sitting around, Ben, Rob, and myself, and I said, well, how about we register as a charity and raise money for these dogs? All right, let's do it. So a bunch of, badly mentally injured coppers decided to start a charity. So at the start of 2018, or April 1, 2018, it was formally registered as a charity with the ACNC, Australian Charities Not-for-Profit Commission. And just with the thing, let's raise money for assistance dogs. But then as Rob come back not too long later and said, raising money for assistance dogs is good, but that really only affects one person, one family. Can we do more? I said, well, we can do anything because we haven't got a criteria.
Yep.
This is what we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we do, nothing else. We do anything that we can financially and resource cover. So that has spawned on to using meal delivery services. So when the member's sitting at home and their anxieties are that off their charts, they can't get shopping, they don't want to cook because the moods won't allow it, etc. So they, will get a week's worth of meals sent to them. So they don't have to worry about that. Or conversely, when a member's sitting in hospital in a psych clinic for a couple of weeks, wife or hubby is sitting at home with 2 or 3 kids trying to juggle kids, school, work, all of that. Here's a couple of weeks of meals for all of you.
Yeah.
Takes it out of the equation. And we thought that was a really easy thing, but the feedback to that's been awesome. So, okay, yeah, that we can do that pretty simple. Sending members away on respite weekends. So if they're having a hard go of it, we'll just message them and say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. And typically they always come back and say, no, someone else is more deserving. First responders being first responders. So like they can afford it for the most part, but it's not about that. It's about them seeing that we see you, we acknowledge you, we validate that it's a hard time. Go down to the beach, to this hotel with the beach frontage, walk in the water, put your feet up, chill out. Again, feedback's awesome. We've had a couple of members, family members going through some pretty, harrowing times. One of them, they're really worried about their firewood. We got you. So we worked out who the local firewood people are and went and delivered and stacked a couple of meters of firewood. So they didn't have to worry about that. Movie vouchers, fuel vouchers, grocery vouchers, and members going through a hard time, like had cancer as well as PTSD, 2 young kids. They were Geelong supporters, all right. But she was fine for, like she had all her mates bringing her food. She had people taking her away. So all that stuff was covered. All right, cool. What ages are the boys? Oh, no, like 6 and 8. All right. So I just went to the AFL shop, bought a couple of new Geelong footy jumpers, passed them up, sent them down. Put a smile on the kid's face. They're having a hard time. So it's basically anything we can do that will help out and put a smile on her face. Let's get it done.
It's that pat on the shoulder.
Yeah, let them know.
Not sure what's going on.
Let them know
with the
that
audio
it's
here.
Yeah, mine just dropped a bit.
Yeah, I'm getting repeat. I'm getting delay. I'll delete this bit. Okay, it's the delay. The echo seems to have gone. So yeah, it's a pat on the shoulder and them not knowing, or them knowing they're not alone.
Yes, that's the and that's our tagline for the foundation. You're never alone, because people need to know that they're not alone. They feel so. Most of us can know what it's like where you do. You feel no one else knows what this is like. Yeah, actually, plenty of us do.
Yeah.
So, and like the private Facebook group still running. There's, we've got 3,500 members in there or something from the services, and like people, we don't allow any negativity or any bashing of the organisations. Take it elsewhere, not here. And people, probably one of the best ones. It happened a couple of years ago now, but this is a sort of a semi-regular thing. One of the members posted that she's having a really hard time with it, but she's got a psych appointment in the morning, so I just need help to get throughout the night. Yep, no worries. Dropped the pace, and it was like 9:30 at night or something, so I went to bed. I wake up in the morning, there's 220 comments.
Yeah.
So all these members, and like there's a couple other members saying, yeah, I'm having a bad one, we'll get through this together. And they just bounced. And then she posted that night saying, thanks so much, I feel good. Had a good psych session. I'm a lot calmer. Thanks for helping out. And I'm just sitting back going, whoa, how cool is that?
Yeah.
So all these people didn't know other than a Facebook profile, and that you're one of us. Cool. Let's help each other out.
Yeah, the social connection is probably the most important aspect of it. As we alluded to earlier, we are the most connected yet disconnected we've ever been, I reckon, in history.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't have the ability to make friends or, to be social. We don't have a lot of skills. Especially as older people or older adults, we often develop our friendships through organic things like kids' sport or the wives' friends, and the ability to go out and just meet somebody and chew the fat is actually quite rare. I'm hopeless at it. My superpower was my job. That was my cape. That gave me the ability to go out and talk to people. It gave me the ability that when I wasn't working, If they asked what you did, then I could say it and that would start a conversation. Therefore, my social skills didn't need to be developed because that did it for me. And when I lost that, that was really humbling. It was scary, and it still is. And it's still something I'm working on now. So the ability to contact and have that connection within a Facebook group is invaluable.
Yeah. And it also out of that, so spawned a relationship with great mate Johnny McNeil from Aussie Veterans Coffee Company. So we've got our own branded coffee, 4 different types. But all those coffee sales pay for social connection activities. So we've done surfing, inland surfing, e-bike riding, fishing. So we've teamed up with Fishing for Veterans, another veteran-run organisation, forward driving, movie nights, high teas, all these things, Luna Park days, where people can go here knowing it's our people. So it's not the general public, because these tickets we've bought out like a movie night. We've bought the theatre. So the only people in the theatre are either military or first responders.
Yeah.
They're real people. And everyone calms down because it's our people. So there, heaps going on. The book was a big thing. The kids' camp's a big thing. A couple other things in the works that we're getting going as well. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool, really. And for, a pure volunteer run charity, no one gets paid.
Yeah.
So everything goes into that. And then, we have a bit of contact with Pina Alana from their New South Wales, retired police women. They run a merge NC in New South. We sort of backwards and forwards a bit with, ideas and stuff. Blue Hope in Queensland, which is really charity for coppers. And so we find our like ones, particularly the volunteer run charities. We help each other out. We boost each other. We work with each other, things like that, because we've all got that same goal, which is really cool.
I think the biggest issue we have is because we're all state employed. There's very little federal oversight. So there's pockets of people that do amazing things like yourself, but when you're in the services, you don't know a lot of these things exist.
No,
there's no advocate program. There's no overreaching thing. And to me, that's where we've got to improve and I'm not quite sure how to do it, but we need to be able to point people in directions where these things are available and the shoulder, the arm on the shoulder is there.
Yeah. And amazingly, I got an email earlier on through our website. Gallagher Bassett, our insurer, which are often not spoken about in high detail, they have referred someone to us. So they're getting treatment and all of that, but they've also, referred to us, which is, okay, we've hit a bonus here.
Yeah, that's excellent. Okay. Yeah, you're going to swap over.
Sorry.
Can you hear me? You have to swap it over. I can't hear you at all. Oh, I heard something. Yeah. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. All right. So that's all right. We're going to wrap it up anyway. So I kept going because it was just, it had flow. Cool. All right. So All right, Mark. Well, thank you. How do people get hold of you, or more importantly, how do people contact the Code 9 Foundation? Yeah, yeah. And they can buy the book on the website. Yeah, perfect Christmas present. And it's the message. Don't forget, this isn't just a book. This is a message for young people where it might make a difference. Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, mate. I've really appreciated it. Thank you for opening up and sharing your experiences and the growth and the positivity that can come through this experience. We hear a lot of negative stuff. But I think seeing people like you who are still working, who have grown, and as you said, I'm not sure if you'd choose to go through it again, but it's you don't regret it. It's awesome, mate. It's yeah, you're changing lives. Well, there you go. See, now you do sound like a flog. Who has their own website? Thanks, mate. And for listeners, if there's people that you think that need to hear this, that's what this show is about. That's why I record this. And share it with those people, share it with the loved ones, share it with anyone you know in that first responder or veteran space, because you can change their lives by them just identifying with one thing from this podcast. So, all right. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Mark. Been great to talk to you, mate, and let's stay in touch. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Call. If you like what we're about, please make sure you subscribe, and if you can leave a review, that would be appreciated. If you have feedback or suggestions for future guests, please contact me via my socials. Please share with your networks and help me expand my reach. It's a great privilege for people to share their stories and allow us to go beyond the call.